Hari Om. Welcome back to Story Time. Today, let us hear a story about the glory of the Bhagavad Geeta. As we know, the glory of the Bhagavad Geeta lies in the fact that these are the words from the Lord Himself. And at any stage in one's life, right from childhood to old age, the Bhagavad Geeta can bless a person. So today's story is about a holy pious scholar who used to write commentaries on the Holy Gita. His name was Arjunacharya. He used to live in a small hut in a village along with his wife. And it was his custom to go and beg for alms just from 3 houses and to return with whatever he had received. This he would do only once a day. After he would finish his daily duties, he would set out and seek alms at the various houses, and he would come back, and after having his meals as the blessing from God, he would continue his work of writing commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. Now, one day while he was at it, he reached the shloka which appears in the 9th chapter of the Holy Gita. And this shloka, the 22nd shloka of the 9th chapter, said, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. At this, Arjunacharya was confused. He did not agree with these lines. Now these lines meant that whoever would worship the Lord with utmost devotion and with single pointedness, then the Lord assured that He Himself would look after the yoga and the kshema, which meant that He would Himself carry whatever was lacking in this devotee, that is yoga, and He would also protect or preserve whatever the devotee already had, and that was kshema. Now Arjunacharya began wondering. He said, how is it possible that the Lord Himself will come physically, personally and carry what the devotee lack? How can it be possible that the word Vahamyaham is written in the Gita? And so he took out a piece of charcoal and scratched the word Vahamyaham in his book. Now it was well past his usual time because he had spent some extra hours writing the commentary, and still he set out for seeking bhiksha. Since it was past the usual lunch time, all the ladies in the houses of the village were already resting and they had nothing to offer him. And so after approaching 3 houses, Arjunacharya decided to come back. Now Arjunacharya came back empty-handed, and yet he told his wife that he would go to the river to have a bath and then return, for they would probably have to stay hungry that day. And as the wife kept waiting at the door for her husband to return, suddenly she saw 2 cute little boys. They were carrying heavy bags, and then they came to her and said, Amma, your husband has sent this to you. And she opened the bag and she saw provisions, food grains, vegetables, fruits and butter. And these sweet boys told her that her husband had sent this and asked her to cook a meal for him. She asked them who they were. Her heart went out to them because they looked so loving and so cute that she couldn't hold herself back from striking a conversation with them. And then they told her that they were her husband's disciples. Now the lady was happy. But suddenly her eye fell on their bare backs and she saw a huge black mark on them. She asked those boys what that meant, and they told her, your husband is very strict with us. He beats us if we don't obey him, and these marks are caused by your husband. Now the wife got very angry. How could one be so heartless and cruel? Such cherubic boys My heart goes out. I feel like hugging and embracing them. And my husband has actually struck them. And so she asked them to wait. She went inside. She ground some sandalwood paste and then lovingly applied it on the backs of these children. Even while touching them, a wave of bliss passed through her, and finally she bid goodbye to them. Soon her husband returned, and when she told her husband that today they had a sumptuous meal thanks to the disciples who had delivered the groceries on his behalf, the husband was confused. Also, the wife suddenly began fighting with him. She said, "How could you be so mean and cruel?" Now, the husband did not know what the wife was implying, and so he asked her, "Have I hurt you? What is wrong? Tell me." And the wife said, "You, those two sweet little boys who are your disciples, how could you even feel like raising your hand against them? Those marks on their backs finally went when I had applied sandalwood paste. I will not talk to you." Now, the husband was really puzzled, and on asking, the wife told the entire turn of events. And the husband suddenly realized that it was none other than the Lord Krishna and his brother Balarama. He ran inside, opened the pages of his book, and exactly at the point where he had scratched the word Vahamyaham, he saw that the black mark had vanished. His wife was blessed by the darshan of the great Lord Himself, and she got an opportunity to apply paste on the back of the Lord, while he, who had doubted the words of the Lord, could not get a darshan of his beloved Sri Krishna. Now he realized that the words of the Gita were true to the last detail. Vahamyaham means actually the Lord will come physically, personally to take care of his devotees. But the devotee ought to have trust and faith in his Lord. This is how the Lord came to the house of his devotee. He brought what was needed, what was lacking in the devotee's house, and he proved that he would always look after the yoga and kshema of his devotees. Arjunacharya learnt his lesson, but may all of us also be inspired to treat the holy Bhagavad Gita as the physical presence of the Lord Himself in our lives. May the children all learn to chant the Gita, and as one grows up, may the elders begin to understand the deeper meaning and the significance of His words. In any situation or in any problem in our lives, the Lord will come and look after our yoga and kshema, and that is His assurance. I hope you liked today's story, and if you did, do share it with your family and friends, and wait for the story that I will narrate the coming Thursday. Until we meet again, Hari Om.